Thank you all for joining us today. It's, I think, a little bit of a challenge to join this webinar, and so we'll have some more people coming, but fear not. It will be recorded and available for your viewing and listening pleasure into the future. I'd like to begin by thanking all of the attendees who are here with us, as well as our panelists, and welcome you to join our webinar about the outdoor economy here. My name is Nathan Rigner. I'm the Director of Outdoor Recreation for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And today we are going to talk about Pennsylvania's $14 billion secret, the outdoor industry in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Okay, I want to begin with a little bit of context about what the outdoor industry is. And so the figure that you're seeing on the left side of the screen here is a little bit of a diagram. When we close our eyes and think about outdoor recreation, think about the outdoors, I think we're probably thinking about the outdoor sector, the system, the whole system of the places and the people and the activities that help us get outside and help us have fun and be healthy and engage with nature. And then these outdoor recreation activities are connected to a set of economic effects that help to build value, generate money for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. That includes helping Pennsylvania be an attractive place to live, to move. It includes the role that access to outdoor recreation plays in property values and business recruitment. And then within that outdoor recreation economy, there is a core area that we call the outdoor recreation industry. And the outdoor industry is the system of goods and services that provide for the economic productivity of the outdoor sector. And that outdoor industry itself has a couple of different subcomponents to it. We can think of the conventional outdoor industry, the makers and sellers and designers of boots and backpacks, boats and maps. We can think of other related outdoor recreation activities like golf and tennis, like outdoor festivals and gardening. And we can think of supporting activities, travel and tourism, all of the construction, planning, design that goes into parks and trails, and the expenditures made by government to operate parks, to maintain our natural resources for outdoor recreation. So we're going to be talking about the outdoor industry in Pennsylvania today. And you may not realize, but Pennsylvania has the 6th largest outdoor industry in the United States, behind California, Texas, New York, Florida, and Illinois. We are Pennsylvania, with $14 billion added to our GDP every year. That accounts for about 1.6% of the gross domestic product of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We know that Pennsylvania has a large economy, has a diverse economy, and 1.6% is a substantial portion of that. That 1.6%, this $14 billion, is up 22% over the past year. That's in comparison to 12% growth in the economy overall. So this past year, outdoor recreation almost performed twice as well as our general economy in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And that economic performance supports 152,000 full-time employees in the Commonwealth every year. Now, while that's a lot of jobs, and this is a lot of value being brought to Pennsylvania from outdoor recreation, there's some work we need to do. Outdoor recreation jobs only earn about 57% of the compensation earned by jobs in other sectors. And so that's something we're trying to work on here in the Commonwealth. Part of why we're talking about the outdoor industry today, so we can understand it better, and in understanding it better, nurture it better, and help Pennsylvanians have valuable, aspirational, and happy careers in outdoor recreation. Okay, now, I'm going to head back up. I skipped a slide. Here we go. As we're talking about this data today, I want to highlight that there's there's many kinds of economic impact analyses. There's two that I want to talk about right now. One are industry-centric economic analyses, and the other are economy-centric economic analyses. Now, I'm sure over the years, you've heard just about every industry out there tout how big and powerful they are. We're the number one, we're the number two, etc. Most of those analyses begin by looking at an industry and trying to chase its effects out as far as possible, like throwing a pebble in a pond and following the ripples, seeing how far they go. These studies trace the economic extent of an industry. There's another style of economic data, economy-centric analysis, that analyzes an industry's role in an economy as a whole. So Pennsylvania has an economy. And what this BEA data, this data from the US Bureau of Economic Analysis that we're going to be talking about today, what it does is treat that economy as a whole and then slice the economy up like one would slice a loaf of bread and attribute each slice to a sector of the Pennsylvania economy. That's what we're talking about today. That's what we think is good data for policy making, for decision making, because it begins with the whole economy concept and then looks at what is each industry doing for that economy. Okay, with that being said, let's take a look at the Pennsylvania economy in general, and then the role of outdoor recreation in it. Now, I know there's a lot of numbers here on the screen. We don't have to look at them all, but I want to highlight third row down on the table on the left, this $13.6 billion of value added to the Pennsylvania economy, 1.6% of our GDP. That 1.6% is larger than mining, quarrying, oil and gas extraction combined. It's about 4 times the size of agriculture, forestry, commercial fishing, commercial hunting. If we asked Pennsylvanians to sit down and list out important industries in our Commonwealth, I hypothesize that outdoor recreation wouldn't make that list. Many of these other industries would. And so let's think about outdoor recreation as an industry. Let's think about it as a powerful industry in Pennsylvania. Let's think about it as an industry that we can nurture and grow. And our panelists here today are going to talk about different aspects of that industry with us. Now, before we move on, I'd like to invite Rzeznik. Stas, I'm sorry, I really tried hard. I'd like to invite our friend Stas from the US Bureau of Economic Analysis to tell us just a little bit about the data that comes from the Bureau of Economic Analysis, how it works, and what it means.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nathan. And good morning. Thank you for all of you attendees and for your interest in outdoor recreation and the statistics produced by the Bureau of Economic Analysis. The BEA produces a number of broadly watched economic indicators like GDP, personal income, personal consumption. However, no less important are the more focused economic statistics that BEA produces, such as the Outdoor Recreation Satellite Account. The Outdoor Recreation Satellite Account, or ORSA, has become an important resource showing in detail the makeup of outdoor recreation and the outdoor recreation economy, its size, its growth, and its composition. ORSA's beginnings were in the Outdoor Recreation Jobs and Economic Impact Act of 2016. And since that act brought about ORSA, we have heard from national, state, and local business people, policymakers, and outdoor enthusiasts about the value of the data and statistics that we produce. And this sort of roundtable is an important venue for us to get your support and participation in the production of these statistics. The particular value that we've heard from you, our customers, about outdoor recreation statistics, particularly the state level statistics, are the economic impact of outdoor recreation as a whole. So for example, outdoor RVing activities in Pennsylvania encompass not only manufacturing of equipment, but also the RVers who flock to parks and campgrounds in Pennsylvania and consume services at restaurants and retailers. This November, we released the new statistics for 2021 and updated the data from 2017 to 2020 to reflect the annual updates of our industry and regional accounts that took place in September and October. The annual updates allow us to incorporate more up-to-date data sources that might not have been fully available when the initial estimates were published. At the state level, we have data on outdoor recreation for 20 industries and 7 industry aggregations for value-added, employment, and compensation. The industry definitions and valuations are all consistent with other BEA data and allow you to compare outdoor recreation data with other economic statistics that BEA produces at the U.S., state, and local level. The activity measures we produce for value-added the activity measures we produce by value-added are a rearrangement of the value-added by industry data, and we publish that for 34 activities and 12 activity aggregations. So these activities, as I mentioned, pull together all the pieces related to an activity. So in the case of boating, that's going to show all of the boating activity in Pennsylvania, whether it comes from the boat manufacturing industry, the marina industry where boats are stored, the fuel industry and fuel retailers who provide the fuel for power boats, or the educational industries that produce things like boating classes and lessons on how to use your new boat. Our data also are based on place of production and differ from some other outdoor recreation measures that focus on sales or output and show activity in the location of the final consumer. I'd like to finish up my brief remarks by encouraging you to all look at the state summary sheets, a piece of the first page of which Nathan had up on his previous slide, and look at our interactive data download tool. So I and other members of the outdoor recreation staff are always available to answer your questions about the data. You can Google ORSA and BEA to get to our outdoor recreation homepage, or just Google outdoor recreation satellite account. And there you will have the email address for how to contact the staff and me at outdoorrecreation@BEA, B as in boy, .gov. And as we continue production of the outdoor recreation satellite accounts into the future, I would encourage you to continue a dialogue with us so that we can continue to improve our accounts. Thank you.
Thank you, Stas. And I want to say, the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis has fantastic customer service. You and your colleague Stas have been very helpful for us here in Pennsylvania, and you have no end of my thanks for that. Now, where does outdoor recreation begin? Well, if we're talking about the equipment, about the goods and services that we use when we're recreating outside, it begins with manufacturing. It begins with the design and production of outdoor equipment. And here in Pennsylvania, that accounts for about $2 billion of our GDP. About 2% of all manufacturing in the Commonwealth is for outdoor recreation. Manufacturing within outdoor recreation is a high value activity. Manufacturing jobs in outdoor recreation are almost earn almost 1.5 times the average of compensation in the outdoor recreation sector. And there's more than 2,000 people employed in manufacturing in outdoor recreation in Pennsylvania. We have here with us Nick Gilson, founder and leader of Gilson Snow, manufacturer of skis and snowboards in central Pennsylvania. Nick, you began designing your own snowboards as a young person. You made the decision to manufacture them here in Pennsylvania using Pennsylvania hardwoods, and now you're selling in, I believe, 42 countries?
Yep, I think 43, maybe 50, this latest count. Number keeps rising.
It's hard to
Just say.
keep up. Will you tell us a little bit about how you decided to operate, to found and start an outdoor manufacturing company here in Pennsylvania, and how your manufacturing work benefits not just recreationists in Pennsylvania, but the community in which you live?
Yeah, it's a great question, Nate, and thanks for having me on today. I think I can speak with a little bit of distance from this now because of the recent events, and just to get ahead of it for folks on this call, I think probably everyone has heard the news, but we had a factory fire on November 18th that really burned our facility pretty much to the ground. And extraordinary men and women firefighters fought that fire overnight and were able to put it out. The reason I mention this is because it actually forces us to make the same decision again. And what I'll say is that the first time we decided to build a factory in Pennsylvania, it was largely due to serendipity, and it's all about the people. Uh, I've learned that that was an incredibly fortunate decision that we made. I was a middle school science teacher and launched the business with my now business partner, Austin Royer. He was the other science teacher down the hall, and he had grown up in central Pennsylvania and had just an unbelievable wealth of knowledge with regards to wood products manufacturing and building construction, and certainly the network here to support it. He also had a cabin in the woods with no running water and electricity, which provided free rent for our early team. So there are a few sort of like early startup realities that pushed us towards Pennsylvania, and just the resource that we had here. We figured at that time that at some point when we had our financial footing, we would move to a place that a snowboard and ski company, quote unquote, should be. And what other people would sort of attribute to that is like maybe the Sierras or the Rockies or somewhere where you've got these, massive mountains. Of course, a lot of our competitors' manufacturing is over in parts of Asia. And so, what was fascinating about what happened and the way this community embraced us is that we realized within about 12 months of building this business is that there is no way that we would leave, partially just because of how much this place means to us and how much the community embraced us, but also for very real business reasons as well. The woodworking heritage in our region is just extraordinary. The access to natural, right, sustainably harvested Pennsylvania poplar, but we don't even have inbound shipping on our timber. It comes to us on the back of our beater pickup truck from our original winter tour, and then certainly access to the outdoors. Right, we've got a team of people here who not all of them are skiers and snowboarders. Most of them probably call themselves that now, but we're not, certainly hiring only for that attribute. And there's thousands of miles of hiking trails and biking trails and access to the outdoors here, much of which Mike over at Purple Lizard Maps has mapped with his team. And this ability to build a business that both has access to the natural resources and has access to just extraordinary craftsmen and women with a real heritage of woodworking in our region, plus the I-80 and 15 intersect to be able to ship to 50 plus countries and counting all over the world, from a small farm here in the Susquehanna River Valley, plus being able to attract and retain skilled people on business development side and in manufacturing because of our proximity to the riverways and the hiking trails and the 22 mountain resorts across Pennsylvania, has made this just an absolutely extraordinary place to build our business. And sometimes building a company, right, is like jumping off a cliff and trying to build a plane on the way down. And so sometimes you face these realities and you're like, well, we made this decision. Now we got to stick to it and see it through. And, and there have been aspects of that, right? But there's something crazy that happens when your entire manufacturing facility burns to the ground. And, while it's been incredibly hard and sad and emotional to say goodbye to that facility that we've poured our minds and hearts into over the last decade, fires have been clearing the way for the future for a really long time, since long before humans walked this earth. And it's an opportunity now to take a look at the landscape and truly, um, for both emotional and moral and commitment driven reasons, but also for real business case reasons, take a look at the landscape and say, where is the smartest place to build this business going forward for the next chapter? And what I can tell you is that we went into this fully blue sky, anything is possible. And where we've landed consistently is that the one place that we are deeply committed to and the smartest place to build this business for this next chapter is right here in Pennsylvania because of all of the aforementioned reasons. And, I can say that now with a very straight face because we're truly putting our money where our mouth is in that regard.
Your story, Nick, at Gilson Snow of your happy workers working smart is exactly the kind of story that we want to highlight here, and is the beginning of this value chain within the industry of outdoor recreation that that generates both value for us in the Commonwealth and helps our Pennsylvanians and our visitors live their best lives. Now, the point where most people touch outdoor recreation is within the retail sector. The retail sector is the largest sector within the outdoor industry in Pennsylvania. It employs the greatest number of workers within outdoor recreation. Retail occurs at large and small establishments. It occurs in brick and mortar and online. Outdoor recreation retail is happening in gas stations and country stores. It's happening in specialty shops. $4 billion is added to Pennsylvania's economy through outdoor recreation. That's 8%. 8% of retail sales in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania are attributable exclusively to outdoor recreation. That's grown 15% over the past 5 years. Compensation for workers working in that sector has increased by more than a quarter. So if you're working at a gear shop, if you're working at a bait shop, you're making more money than you were 5 years ago by 25%. That's more than the increase in income for the average Pennsylvanian over that period of time. However, these jobs remain jobs that earn less than the average Pennsylvania salary, which is something that we can work on together. We have with us Stephen Wood from Public Lands, a thematic store that's part of Dick's Sporting Goods, a fine Pennsylvania company, here to talk with us about retail sales in outdoor recreation. Steve, I know Dick's is trying to take a different approach to retail in outdoor recreation, one that focuses on improving access through the sharing of information, improving access by building a community of outdoor recreationists, and improving access by welcoming new outdoor recreationists into the fold. Will you tell us a little bit about Public Lands' philosophy on this, some specific things that you're trying to do to accomplish that mission, and how you're seeing those effects play out in the communities that you touch?
Yeah, thank you so much, Nathan, for having us on today and being able to talk about the industry and the opportunities here in Pennsylvania. As a retailer, Dick's Sporting Goods has been in this community for a long time. Dick's chose to come to Pennsylvania to open its headquarters here in Western Pennsylvania. And when the new concept for this idea of a outdoor specialty retail shop was launched, we launched it here in Pennsylvania in Cranberry Township with our first store. And we're excited about that because of the opportunity here in Pennsylvania, all these reasons that you shared. We put on our wall when you walk into the store that we exist to celebrate and protect public lands for all. And the access that you're talking about is right in there in that for all piece. And we recognize that there is a huge opportunity, as we saw during the pandemic, more and more people getting outside. More people are recreating closer to their homes, and Pennsylvania offers a variety of accessible local parks and state parks that are truly accessible, that are free for the residents to use. And for us as a retailer, being able to highlight what these opportunities are in what we have, or we like to call our 8 specialty shops within our store, whether that's climbing, camping, hiking, cycling, skiing, we want to make that a welcoming experience. We want that to be when someone walks into the door, that they're not hit with the intimidating factor of seeing technical ice axes and crampons and various things that sometimes can make those in the community not feel like this is for them. But we believe that welcoming people in is the first step. So we have that experience inside the store, and we want to try to create that outside of the store. And we recognize that access to our public lands, to our places that we play, is a really important piece to continue to not only grow our business, but to grow the opportunity for more and more people to appreciate these resources that are in our backyard. And Pennsylvania has so many to see and be excited about. And if we can introduce people to new activities and new ways to play outside in a really educated way, in a way that positions experts in the store, then we feel like we're going to have a good opportunity to increase the amount of people that participate. In addition to giving back, we're a member of 1% for the Planet, and we're really excited about that commitment to give back to local organizations to support the work to conserve and protect the places in Pennsylvania and elsewhere that our stores exist, and to be able to support organizations that are helping get more people outside and more communities engaged in outdoor recreation. And so that purpose statement, it is our path that we're following. It's the why that we are doing what we're doing in Pennsylvania, and we look forward to that opportunity and recognize that this is there's a lot of awesome statistics that you're sharing here in this presentation, and we think, along with you and everyone else on this call, I'm sure, that there's a huge opportunity to make this a bigger piece of the pie, both on the economic side, but in the participation side, and the amount of people that are participating will help us celebrate that more loudly and broadly, like we were able to do on National Public Lands Day with the DCNR at Raccoon Creek State Park here in Pennsylvania, with a great volunteer day led by the DCNR and volunteers there, and then celebrate it with music and food. And we think that's equally important, because the outdoors is restorative for us, and we get to give back, and we get to experience this, and it's core to who we are, to making sure that we're creating that experience inside and outside of the store in a way that truly is welcoming, but also technically legitimate, and putting style forward that can help increase more interest in the outdoors through we're seeing a lot more people that live closer to cities participating in outdoor recreation, and being style forward is important to some of those individuals, and it's an opportunity we have to help lift the industry or lift the retail part of this through building community and staying connected to what those in Pennsylvania near our store are looking for and looking to do with us.
I agree with you, Steve. While we're talking about the dollars and the significance of the industry here, this industry really is an industry of service for people to get outside, to participate in the community of outdoor recreationists, and derive all of the health and well-being, all of the community, all of the social benefits associated with outdoor recreation. I have one small question for you still to go. I'm going to ask that you keep your response as concise as possible. Down in the lower corner of this slide, since 2017, there's been a 52% increase in value generated for Pennsylvania by hiking, tent camping, and climbing grouped together. How have you seen that play out in your store?
That's a great question, and the store in Cranberry Township has a feature when you walk in, big rock climbing wall. We're seeing a lot of kids and families and people engaged with that as an activity, but then also the opportunity to go explore our local crags and hiking, the amount of hiking footwear selection that is interest that our customers, we call explorers, come in looking for. There's a great selection of those different brands that are creating new opportunities and new styles and ways to look at what does hiking from your feet to the gear that you're using, what do you need to get outside? So we're seeing that interest in camping. Certainly, those areas are a big part of our business, and they're ones that are in Pennsylvania are kind of always on, and you know, the winter hiking may not be as popular, but we're seeing the interest in the demand from the customer to have a good assortment and equip them to get outside.
We're going to follow up on this style question in the future. That's one I'm interested in. So outdoor recreation, we've talked about retail, we've talked about manufacturing, we've talked about retail. Now let's talk about the travel and the tourism associated with outdoor recreation, both long distance trips greater than 50 miles, and trips that we take around our home to participate in outdoor recreation. Carrie Lepore, Deputy Secretary for Marketing, Tourism, and Film with Pennsylvania's Department of Community and Economic Development, is here to join us to talk about this. And one of the reasons why we wanted Carrie is that she can talk knowledgeably both about tourism in Pennsylvania and about the connection between our state being an attractive place to bring people in and then convert those people into future Pennsylvanians. Nick alluded to this when he said it's all about the people that outdoor recreation in Pennsylvania is able to attract and retain the talent that he's looking for. So to be honest with you, travel and tourism makes up more than a quarter of the value generated by outdoor recreation for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. That's a big chunk, $4 billion. Now, not all trips, not all participation in outdoor recreation or long distance trips. About a third of that value comes from local trips as well, which have increased substantially 12% over the past 5 years. I'm sure part of that is a COVID effect. I'm sure part of that is Pennsylvanians discovering their own state and building outdoor recreation into their daily lives. Carrie, when you're thinking about promoting Pennsylvania as a destination for tourism, as a place where people can live happily and work smart, what role does outdoor recreation play in that for you?
Thanks so much, Nathan. Thank you for having me on this webinar. I'm so thrilled to be with all of you today. So outdoor recreation plays a ginormous role in...
Is that a technical term?
That's a technical term, yes. A ginormous role in both attracting visitors, welcoming visitors back for repeat visitation, as well as factoring into our business development and talent attraction messaging as well. Specifically around tourism. Tourism is big business in Pennsylvania. Pre-COVID, 2019, it was a $46 billion industry for the Commonwealth. We, 2019, welcomed over 200 million visitors. In 2021, we welcomed about 180 million visitors. So we're not quite back post-pandemic, but you know, knock wood, we're doing really well, and the industry in general is coming back a lot faster than originally anticipated. And I think one of the reasons why Pennsylvania is doing so well in our comeback story is because of our outdoor recreation opportunities. We know that areas of the state that are exceeding 2019 visitation are areas of the state with strong outdoor recreation opportunities. Things like the Poconos, the Laurel Highlands, you know, the Pennsylvania Wilds, Erie has had tremendous record-breaking visitation for the past 2 years in a row. And again, much large part due to the outdoor recreation. We also know that Pennsylvania, we like to say, has an embarrassment of riches. We are known, and we know this through research that were actually conducted in 2015, and we just repeated the same research within the past 2-3 months, that Pennsylvania is really known for 4 things. One, our greater than great outdoors, our rich history, our cities and urban experiences, and our culinary experiences. And what we know, again, through research, what really puts us apart from our competitors is that you're able to combine a lot of those experiences in one trip. So people who are coming here looking for an outdoor experience also oftentimes, as we know, both, a lot of our speakers already mentioned this, but they're also looking for music, live music. They're looking for spirits and libations. They want to have a good meal while they're here, while still, participating and really engaging with the outdoors. So Pennsylvania is very, very lucky that we're able to make this value proposition a little bit different than a lot of our competitors. I'll share one more thing and then toss it over to you for questions. Our office, my office, which has that incredibly long title, Office of Marketing, Tourism, and Film at DCED, we came up with a little mission within our office that I would love to share. It really is grounded in Pennsylvania happiness. So the Office of Marketing, Tourism, and Film exists to inspire the investment of time, labor, and financial resources in the state by building Pennsylvania's image as a destination to visit, a place to grow a business, a community to call home, and a state to feel proud of, thanks to a strong quality of work and life. And I cannot stress enough how important our outdoors are in all of those reasons to believe that we're constantly promoting in Pennsylvania to create that connection between quality of life, quality of work, quality of experience. The outdoors plays such an important role.
I appreciate that, Carrie. I agree wholeheartedly with you. I think the alignment, the simpatico between that mission that you just reviewed, our mission here at DCNR, is part of the reason why we work so well together across government. Now, I'm going to share a little. Anybody who knows me knows that I like to share little stories with people. So, when I was a kid, my father told me, Nathan, I think you should be, he said, game warden. I think you should be a wildlife conservation officer someday. And I said, oh, Dad, I don't want to be the man. I don't want to be out there enforcing laws. That's not me. And it's not me. But my dad was right. He knew that I needed a job, that my heart was in outdoor recreation and my heart was in professional service for outdoor recreation. And his words, the slot that he had for that was game warden. He didn't know that there was such a position as director of outdoor recreation, or there was such a profession as outdoor recreation social scientist. And I don't think we have people going to career days in middle school saying, hey, you can be an outdoor recreation map maker. You can be an outdoor recreation social media influencer. You can be an attorney or an accountant or a planner or a consultant or a designer that focuses on outdoor recreation. Yet, these careers abound. There are more than 8,000 creative information professionals in Pennsylvania working in the outdoor recreation sector. These are highly paid positions. These are positions with a lot of entrepreneurial opportunity, either starting businesses on your own, or full-time businesses that one grows, or having a little side gig as a guide or an outfitter along the way. And we have here today with us Mike Hermann, founder, owner, and I believe secretary of the Department of Adventure at Purple Lizard Maps, our fine homegrown recreation map maker, to talk with us about careers, creative careers, technical careers in outdoor recreation. So Mike, you started off seeing a need for information for outdoor recreationists, and a need among people to know where to go, how to get there, what to expect. Also acknowledging that that information doesn't just open the door for people, but can be an important tool for managing and stewarding outdoor resources and helping folks have a good time once they're out there. You did this with inspiration. You decided to run your business out of central Pennsylvania, and now you're making maps for the Mid-Atlantic, for Puerto Rico, elsewhere. Will you tell us both the story of how Purple Lizard Maps came to be a Pennsylvania business about which we are very proud, And maybe any advice you would give to anybody out there who wants to have a creative or professional or technical career in outdoor recreation in Pennsylvania.
Sure, certainly. Thank you for the kind words about Purple Lizard Maps. That's much appreciated. It's in Pennsylvania in part because I am from Pennsylvania. I grew up in Pennsylvania for a large part of my life. I learned cartography in Pennsylvania. I recreated in Pennsylvania. I grew up in Pennsylvania forests. So the process of map making was a little bit of a convoluted path that grew out of my time in the outdoor industry and other forums, through my activities, through mountain biking, through hiking, through working in outdoor retail in Pennsylvania. I did get a degree in cartography and geography from Penn State, and that took me out west. So I thought that, that was going to be nirvana and the dream job. I was making recreational trail maps in Colorado, and I was in the Rockies. I had lived out west before, but I kept looking at how the maps were used out west and how the western states were marketing recreation. And this is 25 years ago, and Pennsylvania was not marketing their outdoor recreation in that same way. They were about 20 years behind or so at that time. So the model that I was seeing working out west, I just said, we have so many trails in Pennsylvania and so many recreational opportunities in Pennsylvania, and it seems to me that nobody seems to really know of them. And this is in the mid 1990s. So I decided that Pennsylvania was going to be the place. There was, if you look at the business model out west, there were smaller map publishers, there were larger map publishers. Nobody was doing that on the East Coast. So, and I knew that the access to outdoor recreation in Pennsylvania was phenomenal. And I took that for granted growing up here. When I left Pennsylvania and started to explore out west, you start to experience a little bit of a culture shock where suddenly your drive time to a trailhead might be 45 minutes, might be an hour. And when you get there, there's hundreds of other people out there. And when you get onto that trail system, you're sharing that space with an awful lot of other people. And I thought, boy, back in Pennsylvania, you can disappear into the woods even on a busy July 4th weekend and find trails where you won't actually see anybody. The other thing that's unique about Pennsylvania, we have a really high density of trails. If you look at other states, you look out west, because that landscape is what I call a picture postcard landscape, your gaps between mountains, your access points into a mountain range like the Rockies, those require 80-mile drives, big distances to jump on the other side of the ridge. Pennsylvania, I equate to more of a nook and cranny topography and geography, where you can get into all these little spots. You can find all these little waterfalls and tributaries and lakes and state parks and an incredible amount of public land. So it was a very easy decision to say, I want to go back to Pennsylvania. There's a lot of stuff to map out there, and let's see what happens. And we were a little bit early to market because the East Coast wasn't in 1997. The East Coast didn't exactly know what to do with an upscale sort of high-end detailed map that we produce. But the other thing that's unique about Pennsylvania, I mean, every place is sort of like this, but our public lands are surrounded by a whole bunch of private lands and gateway communities. So what a Purple Lizard map tries to do is come in and showcase a region. We want to include the communities. We're trying to unlock an extraordinary landscape in a way that really invites people to explore that. And the map, gives them the information that they need to do so. So we kind of occupy a unique space in outdoor rec because we're both a manufacturer, to use a phrase that Nathan introduced me to, we're a manufacturer of knowledge, and we're a retailer. Not only are we a retailer in that we're selling our maps, but we're also wholesaling our maps to the on-the-ground retail network. So we have hundreds of small shops across Pennsylvania, small and large shops that sell our maps. So we are supporting and enhancing that outdoor rec user experience with a physical product much like an outfitter sells a backpack or a bike shop sells a bicycle. But we're also supporting those actual retailers in these gateway communities and larger cities by giving them a product to sell. And that product motivates their customer base to get outside more and to try new things. So really what we're offering is the experience that people have in the areas that we map. So we're trying to elevate that experience, make that experience enjoyable. If you think of a map, you know, it's similar like a hiking boot, right? You don't necessarily buy a hiking boot because you need a new shoe. You're buying a hiking boot because in the back of your mind, you're thinking, wow, if I get this hiking boot, man, the places I am going to go. And that's the concept of a map, right? So this is a tool that will give them an experience. It will unlock an adventure. It will help them explore and better understand that landscape. And I think that's really why people love Purple Lizard Maps so much, because we open up the floodgates to a great recreational experience. And it's not, also our maps, we try to, it's not just a hiking map or a mountain bike trail map. It's history, it's culture, it's little tidbits, it's covered bridges, waterfalls, points of interest, so that no matter what it is that you're into to find out on that landscape, hopefully our map unlocks that.
That holistic approach that you take to sharing information about outdoor recreation, I think there's a metaphor in there. I think it's connected to what Steve and Public Lands are trying to do by sharing information from their guides, the staff in their store with the explorers, their clients who are coming to their store, the connection between the outdoor recreation places, the trails and the waters, and the communities that surround them, the way you place your maps, the way you can go from being a manufacturer of knowledge to a retailer and wholesaler of knowledge, and getting that outdoor recreation information into the hands of small shop owners in communities. This is an illustration of the connection that the outdoor industry has, not just for boots and backpacks and boats, but throughout all aspects of our lives. And hearing you and Nick talk, I wonder if we're trying to pick a fight with the American West. But being a landscape of nooks and crannies, I know the English muffin people will be on our side. Okay, that's enough comedy for the moment. We have one final guest to talk with us, and that's Paul Fogel, one of the founders and owners of Pocono Whitewater Rafting, Pocono Biking, Skirmish Paintball. Paul, you provide outdoor recreation experiences for people. You welcome people to Jim Thorpe, to the Lehigh River, to the DNL Trail. You equip them for experiences. You show them how to engage with these activities. You send them on their way with fantastic memories. You do that as a family business. You employ numerous guides throughout the summer, launching them onto careers of their own. And you do so I want to thank you for good partnership with those of us in government at DCNR and with other entities as you work to provide services in our state parks and along our rivers and trails. Guided trips on land, water, and air contribute about $400 million to Pennsylvania's economy. And you, as I mentioned, are working in the boating and bicycling with the boating and bicycling activities, both of which have seen tremendous growth over the last year. Almost 186% growth in canoeing and kayaking just in the past 5 years. Will you tell us the story of how your family business began and grew to where it is today, and how partnerships with government and other entities have enabled you to be successful?
Okay, so we operate the whitewater rafting and biking business here in the Poconos in Carbon County, in the Lehigh Gorge State Park, on the Lehigh River, and the DNL Trail. We are one of 4 state park rafting concessionaires, and we've been in business for over 40 years. The rafting industry operates on a river management plan that was created decades ago between the outfitters and DCNR, and that plan sets the quotas, put in times, etc. And it has done a great job. The Lehigh is one of the top user day rivers in the country. We also operate with a water release partnership between us, DCNR, and the Army Corps of Engineers. And this partnership for water releases has stabilized flows and provided summer water in the river, thus summer business. Results of these partnerships have had significant economic and health benefits to our surrounding area. I would estimate that the rafting brings in about 150,000 guests a year, and then you have the private boater community. So my guess is running the river is good for about 250,000 visitors a year to this area of the Poconos. While the majority of the jobs created by the rafting are seasonal and part-time, the industry alone is probably responsible for about 1,000 jobs. On the biking side, it is much smaller commercially. I would estimate about 30,000 people a year. On the private side, however, it is way bigger. I do not have numbers, but the vast majority of people using the trail have their own bikes or walk, and it is very popular. With the private bikers, they park in Jim Thorpe or Whitehaven, ride the trail, come back, load their bikes up, and then walk into town for lunch or dinner. The lodging properties, restaurants, and shops in town also market directly to bikers. I mean, it's a significant percentage of visitors to the town. The trail has really been good for tourists, for people coming and spending money and having a nice time. While the actual river and trail activities are great financial boosters, according to the BEA, they represent only 1/3 of the average spend. The big impact is in the post-activity secondary spend, i.e. the transportation, the lodging, the food, etc. And we see this all the time with questions on where can we stay to make a weekend out of it, can you recommend a restaurant, etc. Right? Running the river or biking the trail is not just a fun time with your friends. It's also a healthy outdoor experience, and it helps people exercise, stay active, enjoy the outdoor experience. Many of our guests, they walk away with a new appreciation of the outdoors and the natural beauty of the Lehigh Gorge and the importance of preserving and enjoying it. And while I just talked about our guests, I would mention many of the local people use the trail and river also. It is a very nice amenity to have these amazing protected resources in our backyard. If anybody has any questions about our partnership with DCNR and the Army Corps of Engineers, I can go into detail, but they are pretty complicated programs that are working. They're working excellently.
Thank you, Paul. Really appreciate your comments. Really appreciate the way you drew connections. In one example, DCNR, Army Corps of Engineers, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and you there on the river, the connections between the trail, the river, and the communities, how people's experience of outdoor recreation is holistic. It's not just in the woods, but it involves the visits to the town. It's these kinds of connections that we are working, we as a group here on this call are working on, that the Commonwealth is working to leverage to improve the way to enhance and ensure the benefits of outdoor recreation for all Pennsylvanians. Pennsylvanians as individuals, Pennsylvanians as communities, and Pennsylvanians as a Commonwealth as a whole. I would love to have an opportunity to have some questions from our attendees, but I know we're having some technical challenges with the webinar today. And so I want to thank all of our panelists for joining us today. I want to thank all of our attendees for joining us. For those that had some difficulty coming in, thank you for bearing with us. Now, if you'd like an opportunity to ask questions in the future, I encourage you all to contact me. I'm going to see if I can, in live TV here, I can. Look at this. NREIGNER at pa.gov. That's my email address. Send me an email. I will be happy to share more information with you, connect you with any of our panelists for whom you have questions, and bid you a good afternoon. Go outside and have some fun.